You're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show. I'm Jason.
And I'm Patricia. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Transformation Talk Radio.
We discovered that human potential is severely limited when you program humans like a machine, which is standard practice today for self-improvement.
The ecosystem approach teaches you how to uncover your infinite potential by using natural methods that are truly revolutionary. Join us now for the Ecosystem Approach Show. Today, we're going to talk about unlocking the secret power of small business. This is not taught in any Ivy League business school. Large companies would find it difficult to impossible to duplicate or use this power. We see that now is the time for innovation and new ideas to come forward. And many of those ideas can come from the small business arena. However, it requires the ability to truly see the world as it is. Stay tuned for these amazing and thought-provoking ideas. We are married intuitives with over 25 years experience who created the ecosystem approach. This is a groundbreaking way to see yourself in this age of Aquarius. We help you unleash healing and potential that is unknown today and is totally unique to you personally. This is not your typical type of energy work. We help you with life-changing internal discovery that is powerful, rational, practical, and useful for everyday life. Jason, what exactly is secret power for small business?
It's a power within all of us, but it's been squelched, blocked, discredited, and rendered invisible.
Yeah. Well, where does this secret come from?
It's this is the age of Aquarius, which is an energy age.
Yes, it is.
That holds the potential for dramatic change. And we see that small business can lead this. I'm personally really excited about small business and entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Because I think changes in the world, true changes in the world can come from not the big companies because they maintain the status quo.
Well, yes.
They own the status quo. They will try to preserve it. But so many of us have been programmed to look toward technology for the answers,
right,
and a better way to live. But that's a false construct. Machines will not drive the changes promised by the age of Aquarius. Human beings being more human will drive the change.
That's quite a concept there.
Yes.
So, right. So what is the biggest barrier to these changes?
It's the belief that only the tangible world exists and there's nothing else. But after 25 years of doing this work, clearly there is a world that includes a consciousness about unseen forces, and these unseen forces control and dictate what happens in the world. Wow. We see it. We're taking care of my mom who's got dementia. She's in hospice. These are her last days. And we see these unseen forces.
Yes, we do.
Traditional medicine says, that's just delusions,
hallucinations.
It's random stuff that just doesn't mean anything.
And by the way,
that's not what we see at all.
We don't see that at all.
And that's not what's important for this. But for business, if you've ever gone out of business or had all of a sudden something blindsided you and it came out of nowhere.
Yes.
This is where you get the answers to those questions.
Yes, I agree.
It doesn't necessarily prevent you from being blindsided all the time, but it can certainly help. And some of those things that happen can be spotted. They're like a trend.
Yes. Well, and we know that there's people out there that say things like, if there wasn't bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, if I look at that person's life, I see a trend there.
Exactly.
By all
Same
means.
thing with the business. So if you're a small business owner, understanding and having the ability to affect these unseen forces is the key to your success for a business.
Right.
Typically, in the world today, in the tangible world, the big companies have all the advantages, and the little companies have very little.
Right.
But many who hear this will have a complete lack of understanding what I'm talking about. And if that's the case, that's okay. But the truth is, this is the promise. This is where you can even the score with businesses that have more resources, more staying power.
Correct.
Even are able to implement dirty tricks and things that we don't like to think about.
Yes, but do happen.
But they happen.
Yes, they do.
Um, the truth is that big businesses can't implement what I'm talking about because the people who go to a big business, they have to reflect the culture of that big business, and that's a form of programming. Sometimes that programming is so strong,
yes,
they will not be able to overcome that programming ever. So, in a way, when you've been programmed to a certain point, pretty soon you have blinders, and you can't see outside of that.
Yeah,
and every day, Patricia and I, because we have this ability to see and perceive, are seeing things that say, "Oh my gosh!"
Right.
But not only do we see them, we can affect them. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so empowering.
It is.
And for us just to live in the tangible world,
right?
It seems kind of dumb. Kind of dumb. And who would want to do that if you if you didn't have if you had a choice?
Okay, so Jason, what are the biggest barriers to the changes?
We just talked about that.
Okay,
which
sorry.
Is the tangible. It's the blocks. It's the belief that the tangible world is all there is.
Yeah.
And there's way more than that.
Well, yes, and if you have a moment in this segment, let's talk about that for just a minute. And what Jason's talking about is that when you have an understanding of what energy can do, the power of it, then if you see that there's things that are blocking you from even being able to, you might be able to see the power behind energy, but if you can see what's blocking you, of course, by using the ecosystem approach, it can really help you make a difference.
For example, if you're struggling with your business,
okay.
First of all, the first thing is to kind of assess what the struggle is.
Yes.
To know what the problem is.
Yes.
If you can see energy and understand that this energy, these subtle energies have motives and a consciousness.
Yes. Yes.
And you can start to see how that they work upon your business consistently over and over again. When you see that, then you can start to remove it. If you have no idea that it's there, I mean, you're
exactly.
Just, and there's all these YouTube videos, books, training that say, okay, if you do this analysis, if you do it this way, everything's going to be okay.
Right.
And the truth is, if you've been in this arena for very long, that's not how it works.
No, it's not.
And we're going to talk about that some more in the next segment. But there's another part to that, which is there's this arbitrariness that's in the world, and people think, okay, well, that's just the way it is. No, it's not.
And you can change it. Yeah, I realize that, and I'm probably jumping the gun here. But if you change yourself, if you remove the negative energies from yourself, if you're in a small business and you start removing the negative energies for your business, I guarantee you, it's not enough. You need to remove them from yourself as well.
The most important, that's a very good point. Okay. The most important factor in small business failure, and you can Google it, and you get all these 10 reasons why most businesses fail. Right. That's like the tail, not the dog.
Right. So
the true source of those reasons is the negative energy, is the energy that you didn't see. Yes. That's acting upon you without your knowledge. And by the way, the most important energy force in your business is yours. So if you have negative energy attached to you, and I guarantee you that's the case,
Right.
there are blocks, there are beliefs,
Yes.
there is programming that's keeping you from moving forward. And until you can get a handle on that, until you
Correct.
can see what it is,
Yes.
you're just paddling upstream. There's a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
other
yeah, 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 yeah.
there's
We
a
won't
couple
go
other
there.
metaphors, but paddling upstream, it's just so much harder when it's not
Exactly.
necessary.
And it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't
So,
have to be.
Jason, how can these unseen forces help my business?
Well, it's a way of leveling the playing field with the big
Okay.
companies.
Okay.
And big companies do have an advantage, and there's a form of inertia that happens when you've
Yes.
been around for 10 years and 20 years and 30
Correct.
years. This inertia
Yeah.
keeps you going.
Yes.
But as a small business, if you've been in for 6 months or a year, how do you overcome that? Well, stay tuned. We're going to start talking about
All
something.
right. Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
There is a power within all of us, but it's been squelched, blocked, and discredited and rendered invisible.
Yes.
During the age of Aquarius, there is potential for dramatic change. But to realize this potential, we must develop our own inner resources to make use of this secret power. It doesn't just happen to us.
Yeah.
Many people look to technology to lead these positive changes, but machines will not drive the potential. It will come from human beings being more human.
That is such a profound statement.
And by that, I'm talking about what we do with the ecosystem approach.
Correct.
The biggest barrier to this change is the false belief that the tangible world exists, is all that there is in terms of existence.
Right.
But each individual has to develop their own consciousness, perceive and utilize this secret power that's not just in the physical dimension, not just in the tangible world.
Right.
The ecosystem approach teaches you how to develop this high level consciousness.
I love that. In the next segment, we're going to talk about seeing the business world as it is authentically and major misconceptions that business owners and leaders have about their business and the business arena in general. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to talk about seeing the business world as it is authentically and major misconceptions that business owners and leaders have about their business and the business arena in general. Jason, what do you mean by seeing the world, the business world as it really is?
Most business people, and most people too, it's not just confined to business,
Okay.
don't see the world objectively.
Oh, that's true.
So,
yes, I will agree with that. So then what is the greatest misconception that business people have?
if you ask a successful business person, and I've seen so many interviews. I mean, I was fascinated by this. There's this, we're going to talk about a lot of false beliefs. But one of them is that if you can listen to someone who's made it, who's done really well,
Right.
and just imitate that, model yourself after that person,
Okay.
then you'll be successful too. No,
Well, and
it doesn't work.
And one of the
It's
reasons,
one of the biggest misconceptions.
and I'm going to jump in and say, first off, we're all unique, and so what works for me might not work for you.
And because we have different
vice
strengths
versa.
and talents,
That's exactly right.
and uniqueness,
Mhm.
and so if you're playing, if a business person who becomes successful, chances are they've figured out how to play to their strengths.
Yes.
At least some of them.
Yes.
And that helps them, but that doesn't mean that you have those same strengths.
Oh.
And so the key is to figure out who you are and make the most of that. But
yes.
But when people are asked, they usually say, well, it was hard work and persistence, and maybe a few other things, but usually hard work and persistence. I guarantee you, I've known so many people that have hard work and persistence and are not successful. Hard work and persistence does not
make for success.
No, it doesn't. And And I would even want to put it out there that hard work isn't even necessarily the most important part of this. So if you can see more of the way the world is authentically,
Yes.
you can avoid a lot of mistakes. I think about one of my favorite biographies growing up was Thomas Edison.
Okay.
And because we lived in Detroit at the time, and that's where
Okay.
he did the light bulb.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's where he created the first light bulb. So he tried all these materials to test the filament and apply electricity to it to see what would light up.
Sure.
And he tried all these different things, trial and error. He went through all these things, and he was the one that was saying about persistence and hard work. He's one of the, I've heard him say that many times.
Sure.
But the truth is that if you can see what we see now, and if Thomas Edison had that ability to see like we can see now, you wouldn't have to do trial and error and do, a bazillion different options for that filament. You could sit down and say, I'm just going to close my eyes and look and have the ask the questions with my refined intuition and see if I can find the answer without having to work hard and be up all night. You see these movies about him, sleeping in his laboratory and getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep every night and blah blah blah. Was that really necessary when you don't have these abilities? Maybe it is, but I'm not saying it's an absolute thing. So hard work and persistence do not create business success.
Okay.
Very simple.
What is another business misconception?
Okay, I love these. Okay. There is a misconception about the nature of money and business success.
Okay.
Money does not respond to the rules of the natural world.
You want to say that one more time?
Money does not respond to the rules of the natural world.
Yeah.
The rules of business success does not respond to the rules of the natural world either. And what we see, it's more of a game.
Yeah.
Think of Monopoly.
Okay.
Sometimes as you're playing Monopoly, you have to pull a card every time you go around. And sometimes it's a good card.
Yeah, and sometimes
something good happened.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not. Well, it seems like it's random. If you understand what we're trying to talk about, your secret power, it's not so random. But the business world has been gamified.
Yeah.
So it's not who has the best product and delivers it to the market in the best possible way. It's about who wins the game. And we see this all the time where the most popular product is not necessarily the best product.
That's true.
And the most popular business is not necessarily the best business. And if you're playing the game of business based on values and beliefs that you hold, there's a good chance it won't work.
Well, can I the values of business in my family were not taught the same way your family was taught.
Yes.
And we're talking drastic difference in perception.
Yes.
And we know that everything does start with a perception.
Yes.
So and we'll just use business as an example. So, and the approach of how people attempt to get up and go get what they want.
So here's the problem.
Okay.
If you're a business person and this person over here that you're working with sees business as a game, and this person over here sees it as authentic values.
Correct.
And you don't see who's who and what's what and which is which.
Correct.
It could be very problematic for you.
Okay.
Or if you're trying to do it one way and the guy over here is playing like a game, you may not anticipate a lot of things that happened. A
lot of the moves that could be made.
Yes, that he does or she does that you didn't ever anticipate.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
Yes.
You have to see the world the way it is.
Yes.
Not just in general, but in your arena and in your market, in your industry.
Well,
so the major point about this is people treat their business as a game, and others try to use natural laws. And it's essential for all business people to look around and see what arena they're in an objective way and who's who in the moment.
Yes. So then that brings up the next question I have. Is being a, quote, cold, hard realist being objective?
This yanks my chain more than anything else. Okay, I see guys who have been successful, and they talk about being cold, hard realist. Well, and usually men. So I just put
I've
that
seen
out
a
there.
few women do
Yeah.
it.
But they think being a realist is objective. But the truth is, it's using purely a logical approach that can filter out a lot of information. And pure logic creates these huge blinders and narrows your focus and your ability to do analysis.
Yes.
I had a client who consulted for a company that identified itself as a data-driven company.
Okay.
And she was frustrated by the slowness of the meetings where the group tried to do data analysis together in a left brain way, and she often came to the same conclusion right away. And so she was sitting there bored for the next hour or two or whatever, because that logical process was just so slow and arbitrary.
And wait a minute. And you didn't say this directly. Am I correct? You're saying that this client used remove negative energy.
Use their intuition.
And intuition to get the answers that it took others hours to get.
The wild card for objectivity is the existence of negative energy, which has its own motives, consciousness, and game plan.
Yeah.
That really throws everybody for a loop. If you see that there's an energy force out there of negative energy and has a motive.
Yeah.
And so what is the motive for these energies for you personally in the arena that you're in the time you're in? It may be connected to you personally. If you don't perceive it, what are you going to do about it? You're just going to be a victim to it.
Yeah. I get that. So how do you see the world authentically and objectively? And I'm talking to the audience.
Yes.
The audience out there. How do you see the world authentically and objectively?
We live in a subtle energy world where things happen because of these energies that are at play.
Mm-hmm.
Another misconception is that actions drive the energies and create things to happen. But that's not necessarily true. So if there's so many self-help out there, business books say, if you do this, this, and this, you'll get this.
Yes.
No, that's not how it works, because this wild card of this negative energy doesn't care if you're following that process.
Right.
They'll say, I'll get in the way for you anyways, and I'm going to do it. And I have a motive to do it.
Yeah.
So when we teach you how to first perceive energy, perceive the energy attached to yourself, and then affect that energy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, talk about a secret power. There's nothing greater than that.
Exactly.
One quick example.
Okay.
There was a Chinese food restaurant in the place that we used to live in. It was in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And it was family run. They lived above the Chinese restaurant. It was very classic. And but they had a fish tank. Now, I know about feng shui, and they put this fish tank in if you know about feng shui, there's different compartments or places in a place. So when you enter it, there's a bagua. They call it a bagua. Certain places, if you put certain things in certain places, it creates certain energies. That's the theory. Yes. It can be superstitious if you don't understand energy and don't see it correctly.
Correct.
But they had this fish tank that was right in the place of wealth and prosperity.
There was a problem with it.
There was a problem. The fish tank was dirty. Whenever I went in there, the fish tank was half full.
Yes, with water, dirty water.
And I realized fish don't have an expression, but they looked unhappy.
They did. Yeah, and I remember you and I having a conversation about it. They're not very happy over there in the corner. Yeah.
That cannot create wealth, and no matter where you put it, for whatever reason. That's where seeing energy and perceiving can be really, really helpful.
Exactly. So, Jason, what is the summary of this segment?
Most business people do not see the arena that they're in as it is objectively exists in a addition, successful business people do not understand the reason for their success. Those who believe they are cold, hard realists do so with a huge blinders on and miss some of the most important aspects of business reality. The wild card for objectivity is the presence of negative energy that has motives, consciousness, and a game plan. Oh my gosh. In order to have secret power for your business, you need to understand or have the subtle energy world that contains the negative energy and all the hidden motives of others by using refined intuition. By the way, being able to perceive energy, you can also really perceive other people's motives.
Yes,
which is essential in business.
Big time. So in the next segment, we're going to suggest some possibilities that could come from this secret power. Maybe you could create some possibilities for yourself and your business. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to suggest some possibilities that could come from this secret power. Maybe you could create some possibilities for yourself and your business. Okay, Jason, tell us what some of the possibilities that could come from this secret power for small business.
As you develop your abilities, you could create energy around your business that is especially attractive to your target market. This is in contrast to typical marketing activities that try to indirectly create these energies.
Okay.
These activities often are not successful. The indirect activities. I mean, you put on a new coat of paint if you have a sticks and bricks building, or
Right.
if you're online, you have an online business, then you do graphics.
I was going to say you clean up your website. Yeah. things
Website,
like
all
that.
those
Yes.
things,
Yeah.
but that doesn't necessarily change the energy. So if
Right.
you work on it directly,
Yeah.
so
That's okay. So, all right. How do you develop this secret power, Jason? Everybody wants to know this.
simply by applying the ecosystem approach. Now, I know that seems like a cop-out. People want, a formula, right?
Yes.
And the ecosystem approach is an approach, not a formula.
Yeah.
And you start with yourself. What's in your way right now?
That's right.
And what are the issues that you have that you're dealing with? And then how do you feel about those issues, and clear those feelings? And you will always start to get to where you need to go.
Right. Well, and the interesting part is when you start with yourself, I recommend highly, the first thing I would clear would be fear of no success, but then fear of success. Because if there's no success, then you can put your tail between your legs and go home, so to speak. But if there is success, oh my gosh, what do I do with it?
Well, here's the biggest thing.
How do I handle it?
Here's the biggest thing for most business people.
Okay.
If you grew up being programmed and affected by toxic relationships that severely interfere or block the learning,
Yes.
that makes it really difficult. The truth is that the ecosystem approach is really simple. If we train someone as a child, they would get it right away, and they would do it, and it would be, they'd be 5 years old and they'd be doing circles around most people that's try and do it.
Yes.
The problem is that most people start when they're adults.
Correct.
And they've already been programmed that you have to do things this way and you have to do things this way.
Right. You're not allowed to do that.
You get all this programming when you grow up in your family of origin. Even though if you said, I don't want to do anything like my family of origin, chances are you still are doing a lot of things like your family of origin.
Exactly.
So here, if you want the steps, here's basically two parts. First is the development of refined intuition by understanding and removing negative energy. That's how you develop refine your intuition that's attached to you.
Okay.
And then two, learning how to affect the energy in your life. That's using clearing and saying, okay, I see this energy here, and then I'm going to clear it, I'm going to remove it.
Right.
And the more negative energy you remove, the better you are at affecting it. Right. And so the more you do this, the better you are perceiving and removing.
Yes.
So it kind of all works together. The secret power has wisdom beyond reason.
I need you to explain that again, or say that, excuse me, say that again.
The secret power that we're talking about in the show has wisdom beyond reason. And for all of you guys that think of your cold hard realists, that's reason. But what we're talking about is a huge amount of wisdom that's way beyond just A plus B equals C.
Correct.
It's and it's not it's not the same every single time. It moves and flows.
Well, because things change. This earth, our lives are always forever changing.
Yes.
And when you take that into one of the factors of doing something, I guarantee you will have more success, because often we want things, we've been trained, we want things one way, and we always need them to be that way. That is not the way life is. So what about creating charisma and attractiveness, Jason?
I think this is one of the big possibilities for this secret power. Is we live in a world where it's believed that you either have it or you don't. You either have charisma and attractiveness or you don't. No, it's not like that.
Right.
Most people that have innate amount of charisma and attractiveness, it's been blocked.
Yeah.
It's been blocked by negative energy. So if you can identify the negative energy and start to remove that, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The possibilities for having more and more attractive people that have a natural disposition toward attractiveness can be developed. And if you don't have that unnatural ability, you can still have more attractiveness by having positive energy around you.
Yes.
And
knowing how to use it.
Frankly, I don't know that anybody in their most authentic state is not attractive in a certain way.
I agree. I will agree with him about that. Well, okay. What about marketing solely with energy? What is this?
It's one of the possibilities. And I'm hoping that if you're listening right now and you're developing the secret power for yourself by using the ecosystem approach, you'll be able to find new ways to do this, or subtle variations on this that are just amazing, that are going to activate this age of Aquarius. But here's some possibilities, okay? Marketing is a perception of a product or service.
Correct.
And that's an energy. And you can affect that energy directly. And you can direct this energy anywhere in the world, and be very specific about how it's applied. So if you're trying to market something to someone that's or a group of people across the world, energy doesn't care about distance. It's not like it's a long distance phone call.
Not at all. Yes.
You can do that. You can apply it. Large food companies have studied the placement of products on shelves and the use of colors and names. And that's the most effective we have right now, but it's a really crude process.
Yes.
And it's crude compared to doing energy work.
Right. Okay.
What if you sent out your products every day by attaching positive energy to them in a specific way? I mean, oh my gosh.
Yes.
A big company can't do that.
Yes.
And energy work does not eliminate the need to work with proper placement or colors or good names. So you can't just say, just like that Chinese restaurant.
Yes.
You can change the energy of the restaurant, but you still have to clean up the dang fish tank and make the fish happy.
Yes.
You can't push that aside.
Okay. So how can you work with reputation and crisis management?
Oh, that's a big part of the secret power of this what I'm talking about. Reputation is an energy, and it can be affected. A crisis is an actual event, but there's an energy around that crisis.
That is correct.
That can be affected. So sometimes you can turn the tide around reputation. Often there are blocks or blind spots that keep a person from seeing what other people see.
Well, and sometimes that comes from your family of origin. Sometimes that comes from the outside world. In other words, if you start using the ecosystem approach, you gain some clarity about energy and where it comes from or why it's there, and that you can actually do something about it.
Yes.
It's pretty Cool. So, did you want to talk about the scandal thing?
Yeah. Sometimes a scandal can be so damning, it's difficult to change the energy of reputation.
Okay.
And this is what came to mind. This dates me. I'm an old guy, but in 1987, Gary Hart was the leading contender for the Democratic nomination for president, but he had an affair on a yacht, and they got pictures of him on the yacht, and the name of the yacht was Monkey Business, and you know, sometimes scandal, now today it wouldn't make any difference. I mean,
No,
it just does,
it's
that
amazing
kind of
what
that we have our expectations are so low, it doesn't make a difference. But back
that is
then
correct.
it was a big deal. And
Yes.
you still have to do the things in the world so you don't look bad. But
Yes.
if something happens, you can still change the energy.
Okay. So, Jason, what is the summary of the segment? And then we're going to tell everyone how to do the clearing.
Okay. The possibilities that can happen using the secret power we're talking about are boundless and unlimited.
Yes.
You can develop this secret power by using the ecosystem approach. It can create possibilities and advantages that are literally unknown in your world today. You can do amazing things with marketing, creating charisma, and working with reputation.
Mhm.
As you develop your abilities by using the ecosystem approach, we see that we fully expect that you can be able to use this secret power in ways that are groundbreaking. And we expect you guys out there to be the first.
Yeah.
That as you're listening
Excellent.
today and you're applying the ecosystem approach,
Way to go.
to find new ways to apply the age of Aquarius energy
Right.
in ways that are just amazing and different. It's time to get started developing your secret power.
I love it. Jason, let's talk about how to clear, and then we'll go on to the next segment.
Okay. So your posture doesn't matter. When we say to eliminate, or just imagine what you're eliminating, whether it's an emotion, barriers, veils, and illusions. Go to your tips of your toes and your imagination, gather it up, blow it out into the processor. Moxie's going to put a picture of the processor up right now.
Correct.
And it's that simple. Blowing harder doesn't move more energy.
No, it'll just oftentimes give you a headache.
Yes.
You don't need that. And then after we do that, we're going to activate life force. Life force energy is the most powerful energy that any of us has access to. And one of the things I just realized that I've never said before, we actually have to learn how to use that life force energy in our best interest so that we can be successful and happy and healthy and have amazing relationships. It's quite amazing. So stick with us, everyone. We're going to do all kinds of things. Stay tuned when we come back. We're going to help start to unlock the secret power of your business or future business. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. And in this segment, we're going to help you start to unlock the secret power for your business or your future business. And everyone, I love the idea of the small, especially since COVID. A lot of small businesses, unfortunately, really struggled because those businesses are where people went to. And it was difficult. But what we're seeing is we're starting to see that new small businesses are starting to come back.
I think that the small businesses can change the world because whether you like it or not, people are motivated by money.
Yes.
So if there's an exchange, if there's a positive exchange
Yes.
of value,
Yes.
And people,
with kindness.
Yes. I mean, but those are the values, and you still have to remember that some people are playing a game
Yes.
and not playing by other values. So you just have to be able to see the world the way it is.
I agree.
But the one more point that we didn't talk about clearing, and I think it's the most important point.
Okay.
People think you have to believe it. People say to it, well, I don't know if I believe this, so I'm not sure that's going to work for me.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. You don't have to believe it. And frankly, the way it works, and this is the way energy works anyways, is that you may not believe this at all. I don't believe any of this,
Hocus
stuff.
pocus.
Yeah,
That's what I've heard.
stuff,
Yeah.
and that's okay, but start clearing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean you don't even have to believe it when you say it.
Yes.
Just go say it to yourself,
Yes.
and blow out that negative energy. See that negative energy going out. And even if you don't think that, well, I don't think that negative energy is really real.
Right.
Just blow it out and
Yeah.
see what happens.
I agree. I
So
agree.
let's
So
get
with
started,
that
Jeff.
said, Jason, take it away.
I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that the age of Aquarius promises great and positive change that can affect all the dysfunction in the world that we have for ourselves if we apply the ecosystem approach to the secret power for ourselves and for our business.
I love it. Take a breath, everybody. And blow out those negative energies that are just there. They hang out. We don't need them. I'm going to shorten it up just a little bit. And it goes like this. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that technology and machines will not bring about the amazing changes in the age of Aquarius. It will come from humans being more human. I love that. Nice and easy. Let's clear those barriers that are keeping us from actually knowing how to be more human. Take a breath. And now blow out that negative energy. Jason?
And to eliminate the stress, anxiety, and overwhelm I have in my life because I'm acting from my programming instead of my subtle energy source, which is my essence. Take a breath.
Stress, anxiety, overwhelm. Throw it away. Oh, and one more breath. And the programming. Throw it away. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see what happens in the world comes from so much more than what is present in the physical or tangible world that is subtle energy, and the subtle energy world that has a consciousness, has motives, and has dark or negative energy that affects the outcome of everything. Take a breath and blow it away.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that one of the biggest misconceptions that business people have is that they are not able to see the world as it really is or with any sort of objectivity about the big picture, not just the factual tangible.
That is correct. Take a breath and throw it away. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that the world of money and business is not based, thank you very much, is
not the rules of the natural world.
Thank you, Jason.
But is a game, and that many people misunderstand and try and approach it in a way that doesn't work.
Take a breath, everyone. One of these days, I'll learn how to not lose my place. And go ahead, Jason.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that being a cold, hard realist is not objective, and that people who see themselves that way have blinders on and miss a lot of what's really happening in the world.
Take a breath. And to eliminate the barriers so I can see that I have secret power by using my human inner resources that in today's world are unknown and sometimes discredited, and is on the newest frontier of human development. Nice and easy. Take a breath and blow it away. Jason? And
to eliminate the barriers so I can see that using my secret power, I can affect the intangibles in my life, like charisma and likability, in ways that up to now have been impossible.
Yes.
Take a breath.
And blow it out. And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that if I develop this secret power for myself and my business, I could use that power to create or innovate new methods for a better world. What a concept. Take a breath and blow it out.
So if you don't have a business now, side hustle. You know,
Side hustle.
it's, do something on your own. There's something about it that is it's yours.
That's
It's a
right.
creative process. It's you.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work out, so much. Try another one.
Excuse me. So let's activate some life force. What do you say?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Follow along, everyone. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can use life force energy to have clarity, awareness, and objectivity, not only for myself, but any ideas that I have or the possibilities that are happening with my business starting right now. You're going to pull in that energy from the top of your head all the way to the tips of your toes. You're going to ask it to stop there, turn it around, bring it all the way back up your body, and collect negative energy along the way and throw it away. Take a breath, everyone.
And to activate life force so I can have hope to develop my secret power and use it in my business.
I love it. Pull it in. Secret power, everyone, and use it. Blow out any negative energy left over. And to activate life force so I can trust that my secret power is powerful and worth the time to develop. Nice and easy. Pull it in and blow it out.
And to activate life force so I can decide right now to focus my energies on developing my secret power constantly for my business.
Yes. Pull it in and blow out anything that's keeping you from focusing on developing and creating your secret power. Throw everything away. And last one, and activate life force so I can be happy and healthy and creative, have fun, be a healer if that's who I am, but also heal myself so that all of the broken pieces that keep me from being the amazing person that I came here to be can heal and then remove negative energy that's been left over and be who I came here to be. And if it's being a small business person, so be it. I love that. Pull it in, happy and healthy, and blow out any negative energy. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
The X factor in your life. And do you see it? And it's about these unseen forces that are never acknowledged, but it connects all the dots to your life. If you're thinking, okay, well, how come I married this person? How come I married this person? And why didn't this job work out? And why didn't this business work out?
Okay.
And all these things. Well, there's that X factor probably has the answer, and this is the biggie.
Yeah, it is. I like this.
It makes sense of the why things happen in a way that you actually have a large ability to affect and to manage. We see this on TV all the time. There'll be some horrific thing happen, and a child will ask, why did this happen?
Yeah.
And usually it's some sort of religious person comes up and says, well, God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Well, the truth is, God ain't that mysterious, and the truth is that there's free will here on earth.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Things happen. Things can happen if you see the energies, all these things that is not so mysterious. So if you see what's happening in the world, if you see what's happening in your world, and that's the biggest, most important part. People don't see what's happening in their own life.
No.
People are not conscious about their own life. What's the negative energy attached to me? What's happening? What's making these things happen?
Yeah.
I see this X Factor is going to be a series of little stories.
Okay.
Of things that we've experienced and seen over the years, and
I love this.
And we'll help reveal that X Factor so that the audience can see, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is why this happened to this person.
Yes.
When it would before, it would have been, oh, it's just an accident. It's just random.
Yeah.
You can't,
Yeah.
it's things aren't necessarily as random as we think they are.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
They're absolutely not. So, and by the way, this is a great choice for next week. Jason.
So if you're saying, oh my gosh, I got to have more of this.
Mhm.
If you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is what I need to do. I need to have this secret power for myself.
Yes.
And so what are my next steps for the ecosystem approach? It's very simple. First, listen to our show every week.
Yeah.
Wherever you're listening now, and we're
Right.
all over the place. So wherever you're listening now, just come back and listen again.
Yes.
Go to our YouTube channel, the Ecosystem Approach, and we have the little circular sun there, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Because Patricia's doing something really kind of neat, Coffee with Patricia.
Yes.
And I think it's a really neat, it's like a 1-minute thing. And it says, okay, if you're feeling this way, do this. If you're feeling this way, do this.
And one of the best times to use this is in the morning, because it'll really help you get your day started.
So on Facebook, our address is the ecosystemapproach.org, and so is our website, the ecosystemapproach.org.
Absolutely. By the way, tell a friend, tell family all about us. We'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This is Transformation Talk Radio, and you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach with Jason and Patricia. That's you. Remember?
It's my turn.
Yeah.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Thank you for listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. I'm Patricia. Tune in every week as we discuss practical ways to apply the ecosystem approach and develop your potential to live your life on your terms. For more information, visit our website at theecosystemapproach.org.